Hello, welcome back to my channel. This is episode 10 of January 2021, the light paper edition. So this is where I read and orate articles from the light paper, a truth paper, the link to which will be in the description of this video. If you follow the link, you can access it for free, and you'll also find their links to my other channels. I have another alternative channel on BItchute where I'll post the more controversial articles such as the one I'm showing now on the screen, which I read in episode 9, and you'll find on that channel. So without further ado, let's get to this article I'm reading today, which is an interview with David Kurten entitled A New Hope, written by Victoria Ain. In 2020, politicians of all sides blatantly lied to and let down the British public. Not only has the regime response closed businesses, created loneliness and confusion, caused financial hardship and a loss of liberty, but the reactions have been based on a sham and agenda in the first place. Throughout this year, there has been one man involved in the political field who has consistently spoken out and been a part of the demonstrations and freedom rallies. That man is David Kurten, a member of the London Assembly, and his plan is to run for London Mayor in 2021. There aren't many other people speaking out in politics, with the exception of Lord Sumption and maybe Charles Walker MP, says David, who is a regular attendee at London protests. I've been out there to observe what's happening, and different protests are treated differently. In the summer, the police got down on their knees for Black Lives Matter, and Sadiq Khan claimed to share their pain. But when people come out for freedom, the Met Police were often brutal in suppressing those demonstrations. We don't want people to be harmed if they choose not to take the vaccine or question the restrictions. Do we need to be in the system to fight it? And if so, what would David's priorities be if he were to be elected London Mayor? In terms of police and crime, I would want to end selective policing. We would need to lock up murderers, armed robbers, rapists, paedophile gangs, and take real criminals off the streets. The police should not be there to censor thought and the expression of public protest. You should have the right to express your thoughts and beliefs. People have a right to protest, and it should not be biased. We need to stop this, and we need to get people's freedoms back. Passionate David continues, we have so many orders from Westminster with police used as state enforcers while businesses close. I would like to be able to say I'm against such actions and steer the police to not enforce such things against our local communities. Another priority is transport in London, and not just the state of the buses and underground. There are so many roadblocks in London, creating 15-minute neighbourhoods, a new term which I only heard recently. It ties into Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, a desire to make everything within 15 minutes of each neighbourhood and use surveillance control to box off neighbourhoods, while most things are done digitally. The polls show Sadiq Khan has over 50% of the vote, but in the age of Donald Trump and Brexit, one should not always trust the pollsters. Young people have had much of their lives decimated and are falling away from Khan and his excuses, looking for alternatives. David has been out on the London streets regularly, hearing real citizens' feedback. He is hoping to work on their genuine concerns rather than following an agenda of political persuasion. Online you can find many clips of David challenging current London Mayor Sadiq Khan in the London Assembly. It is highly recommended because you can clearly view Khan squirming and refusing to answer questions on issues that concern the public. I had noticed over recent months that the press has covered a few grooming gangs being busted across England, but that there never seems to be news like that from London, where I would presume that there was indeed an issue of that sort of crime. I did ask Sadiq Khan about this at Mayor's Question Time. Without answering the question, he said, "Are you asking me because of my faith, my ethnicity?" And I told him I was asking because he is the Police and Crime Commissioner. Then the chair of the Assembly got involved and told me I should not be asking this sort of question. For me, this is a clear illustration of a kind of cover-up and obfuscation explicit in modern UK politics, and is an eye-opener for everybody today, for everyday people who are concerned about child sexual abuse. It shows why David might be right, that we could well benefit from seizing back some control via the system itself. The mainstream media often labels those who question their narrative as conspiracy theorists, but David is a well-educated former teacher. I've got a science background and I'm making a stand because I call it as it is. Too many politicians are career politicians with no math and science background and do not question the data, graphs and modelling. I can clearly see the lies they are spinning. SARS-CoV-2 is real, but it is not anywhere near the issue being made out. The average age of people dying is 83. Remember, there are many coronaviruses, but we do not need to treat them like the bubonic plague. We could carry on as normal, use hydroxychloroquine, zinc, ivermectin, vitamin D, and other protocols that work much better on those who do catch it, rather than intubating them and busting their lungs with ventilators, as many doctors who have been silenced have actually confirmed has happened. David is refreshing because topics like Agenda 21 aren't those most politicians ever raise unless they are calling people crazy. There are people out there trying to bring in a worldwide technocratic state, very much like China, crushing small and medium businesses, introducing a social credit system, silencing dissent. We would be like robots with small rewards allowed if we behave. If you dissent too much, there would be gulags. Is that the kind of world we want to live in? The British people can do better than that, and there are also people who feel they could make a lot of money out of it, or those that have been deceived by mainstream media propaganda. Goebbels would be proud of the lies coming out of government, and it has affected people who succumb to peer pressure. Those who are questioning things are where the hope lies. We look at the situation, we say we can see coercive control, and we stand up, look long term and speak our truths. It should be obvious to everyone by now. They said 2 weeks to save the NHS, but that 2 weeks became 2 to 3 months, then more compulsory rules, then Tier 4 and the cancellation of Christmas. You can see the plans coming up over the next year. People are waking up, but we need more to wake up, as it is taking a long time. I asked David what he believes we need to do and what he himself will be doing as 2021 begins. People need to see there is resistance by continuing to get out and protest, join in and swell the numbers. Regardless of their trying to crush it, we must show ourselves. In the long term, we need lawyers and barristers bringing action against the individuals who enforce the rules from above. As examples, cases against individual police or a shopkeeper who bars us for not wearing a mask. I feel we need to set precedents in case law to show these regulations are unlawful. The third step is what I am trying to do long term, starting a new political party to challenge Conservatives, Liberal Democrats, Labour, Greens, who are all part of the system, all in it together. They are taking away our freedoms. Before this came along, I had been talking about cultural Marxism, political correctness undermining nation, faith, family and freedom, trying to fit us all into boxes and fighting each other with grievance identity, creating intersectional victim groups, installing the transgender agenda in schools by teaching children far too early about these niche issues. I am fighting this battle and the actual taking away of freedoms by starting the Heritage Party. I look forward to standing for London Mayor next year if the elections go ahead. There will be other candidates for the party standing in the South, Kent and elsewhere. Only by getting into positions by public vote can we change things from inside the system. It seems David believes in a people-led wave of change, attempting to use the tools of the state and system against the very people who seek to control and be their masters. Civil society should be doing most of the stuff that makes a country work. A small state with the government there to create the conditions where people can live their lives without the state micromanaging them. What we see today is just the latest manifestation of the erosion of our society. It starts small, but more and more of our freedoms will be eroded if we do not stand up. If we do not understand how these people think, we end up in hot water. Brexit is a chance to help small businesses and daily life, but we may next year be facing a perfect storm, depending on the type of deal or otherwise. For local businesses, 88% trade only domestically, so we need rules tailored for our own country. I predict Boris Johnson may well be gone in 2021, and I hope that the mayoral elections will take place, although this may be further delayed to suit their agenda. Let's keep up the momentum and keep trying for change. A lot is hinging on what happens in America, and we haven't seen the end of that yet. David has experience of campaigning, and although he has no major financial backers, he hopes to get the message out via hard work and genuine people engaging. By gaining public support and meeting voters out and about in London, engaging with citizen journalists and YouTube live streamers, he feels that a true groundswell of support is possible. You can find out more at heritageparty.org. and at davidkurten.net, which is a promo video for his London mayoral campaign and a donation page. Okay, so that's the end of this article. Next time I will be reading, let's have a look, what will I be reading? Oh, an interview by Dr. Vernon Coleman. Here's how we can end this fraud now in one day. I do know that he has been taken down, I believe, from YouTube, so this one will almost certainly be hosted on Bitchute. Hope to see you there. Take care of yourself, and I'll see you on the next episode. Thank you very much. Bye bye.